Hello, I'm Rob Mallernee. I'm the founder and CEO of Eton Solutions. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about the reimagined family office. So 3 trends we're seeing currently in working with our clients. A lot of changes going on with families that are served by the family office, changes and challenges around data and challenges around operations. And family offices are really struggling to try to deal with these trends. And I'll go to each one of these individually. So with the family, we're seeing large transitions. As everyone knows, there's a huge transition of wealth happening right now from G1 to G2. We're also seeing third generation family members coming of age. G3 family members have a much different expectation with respect to the types and availability of technology than their elders. And so what we're seeing is that is putting a huge amount of pressure on the family office to figure out how they can meet the needs and demands of all 3 generational levels. And we think that over time, this trend is going to just accelerate as those G2s and G3s become more and more involved in the family office and have more and more say in how the family office should operate. And one of the key things that those younger family members are looking for is access to data on a near real-time basis, as well as transparency into how things are happening in the family office and what data is behind the summary information that they're being provided by the family office. In addition, having access to data on a virtual basis is really critical because as these families are global families, the idea of getting data via a PDF report or paper reports or having to go to the family office for a meeting really doesn't meet the needs anymore when you have families dispersed all around the globe. Second challenge that we're seeing is data management challenge. And this really starts with having a data structure where you can capture all the information that's required to properly serve a family. And in a lot of systems, there's just no place to put all the different information that you need to really have that information at your fingertips and then be able to analyze and turn that data into information, which is the kind of the second step of the pyramid here, is taking a huge amount of data and being able to crunch that data, analyze it, and convert that data into meaningful information that can be understood by all the different parties operating within the family office, as well as all the family members, stakeholders, and wealth owners that need that information to make good decisions. And then once you have that information, being able to create a way for that information to be put into the hands of the family members and other stakeholders is critical. So how is that data formatted? How's that data distributed? And obviously here, another key component of this is security. How do I actually distribute this information in a way that's meaningful, timely, but also secure? Obviously, for this purpose, email is really challenging because of the security issues around email. So having secure data portals or some other way to get this information into the hands of the stakeholders in a well thought out format is a big challenge for the family. And the fact that family offices are continually expanding the scope and type of assets that they are investing in or having to manage just compounds all of these challenges. From an operational point of view, we're seeing that hiring and retaining experienced family office staff is a huge challenge. And one of the things about a family office that's really interesting is that you may have a relatively small staff, but that staff is expected to have a very broad range of skills. Everything from operations to accounting to investing to estate planning to tax planning to security to technology. Running a family office is an incredibly complex challenge. And finding people who can provide the breadth of experience in this area is a huge challenge. And it's challenging even for people that live in large metropolitan areas where these skill sets are not rare. But for families that live in other places where their family office is not in one of those large metro areas, this can be a huge challenge. And in addition, with the great resignation that's going on nationwide and worldwide, we're seeing a lot of experienced employees rethinking what they want to do with their life, and in some cases leaving. And when they leave, a lot of the business process and other experience of the family office walks out the door with them. And so figuring out how we can institutionalize that knowledge that's in the brains of the staff is a huge challenge. And being able to put together a system that can systematize and reduce that knowledge into something that can be sustained over multiple generations is a huge challenge for the family offices. In addition, younger staff, newer staff have a much different expectation about the type of work that they're going to do, as well as the amount of work and work-life balance. So having a lot of mundane work within the office is going to make it even more difficult to attract and retain the types of employees that you're really going to want in your family office. So how do we address these challenges? What is the idea of the reimagined family office? It's really thinking about things first from a process point of view and thinking about how can I create an operating model that solves these challenges? How can I solve the data and asset complexity? Managing the cost of the office by being much more transparent and allowing people to see what's going on, creating risk control through enforced processes that are embedded in the technology so that we're not just dependent on people following a procedure that's written in a book somewhere. The technology actually forces adherence to the process and controls that have been designed for the family office. Also, meeting the family expectations by being able to scale as the family scales, as the family gets bigger, as their assets get more complex, as they move to different locations, having an operating model that's going to allow you to meet them where they are and deliver what they need to make the most of their wealth. Also, being able to give your service delivery team, your relationship managers, portfolio managers, the people that are actually providing the services to your family, great tools to allow them to have a sophisticated service delivery function. And then also being able, as I said, to take all of this best practice, all of this knowledge, and systematize it so that as you bring on additional staff and expand your office, you're able to staff and train in a very efficient way. And so a lot of things that can help with this operating model are facilitated by the right technology. And so that technology needs to have best practices, embedded business knowledge. So how things work in a family office needs to be embedded in that technology, and it drives effectiveness, seamlessness, not having to enter the same data in 6 different systems, but entering that data once and having it flow to all the different areas of the system, which will then allow for the family office staff to really spend their time doing analysis and forward-looking planning rather than just trying to organize and figure out what's happened in the past. To do that, you really need a data model that's designed for the family office. And one of the key interesting things about a family office that's not true in a lot of other businesses is that you need to maintain multiple hierarchies simultaneously within a family office. As we know, people will think about their wealth in multiple different ways. If I have a 3-generation family, that family is going to want to see their wealth in many different ways. They may want to see the entirety of the entire family's wealth. They may want to see all the wealth that's still available to provide income to the matriarch and patriarch. They may want to see the wealth that's in one branch of the family in G2 and G3. They may want to see how much wealth has been transferred down to the third generation. They may want to see all the wealth that's ultimately going to end up at charity. Some of all of their private foundations, donor advised funds, charitable trusts. What does that look like? So being able to maintain all of these different views of the data simultaneously is not a trivial problem. In addition, the way I think about things for tax purposes is different than the way I think about it for investment or accounting purposes. A grantor trust is a classic example where that trust is going to roll up on the grantor's tax return for tax purposes, but is generally going to be thought of as part of the grandchildren's investment portfolio. So being able to have that grantor trust show up in different ways in different hierarchies simultaneously is a critical feature of a system that's going to allow for very flexible reporting and management within the family office. The other thing is that families are getting data from so many different places, multiple custodians, multiple money managers, multiple hedge fund, private equities. All these different managers and data sources have their own data taxonomy. So a huge job of the family office is being able to normalize and standardize that data across all of the different sources so that when you roll that up into a consolidated view, you have a very coherent, clearly understood view of the world. Another issue is what functionality do we really need to have within our integrated platform? Well, everything in the family office, in our mind, generally starts with a document. So document management is a critical functionality to be integrated. It also is occurring within an entity or set of entities, and that's not just the family entities, it's also all the vendors that the family deals with, all the money managers and funds that the family is investing in. So having an integrated document management and entity management or CRM system is critical with a workflow engine. And those are kind of critical across the board for all the different disciplines. And then you have portfolio management, performance reporting, financial accounting and reporting, tax reporting, cash management, trust accounting in most cases, and finally client reporting across all these different disciplines. So to really have a truly efficient and effective office, we believe requires that you have an integrated platform where data lives in one place, but is used throughout the system to drive that efficiency in the office and also to reduce risk. And so if we can get to this new operating model, we can reimagine what the family office staff are doing. Rather than spending all their time reconciling data between multiple different systems, they can focus their time on value-added work, tax planning, goals-based investment planning, cash flow management. Rather than spending on each one of these tasks, spending the first 60% of the task just trying to figure out where we are, that data of where we are should be available at their fingertips and allow them to spend really 100% of their time focusing on what should I be doing, what should I be recommending. And so really reducing that data gathering mode and automating the data gathering, automating the data management piece and the transaction processing, making that much more streamlined so that the vast majority of the staff's time can be focused in that value-added work is really the idea of this whole reimagining of the family office. And then the benefits of this, if you can get to this model, we can manage complexity much better, and we can actually reduce complexity because the system is managing that complexity for us. We can reduce cost. We can eliminate a huge amount of process like reconciliation among various different systems, the cost of normalizing and standardizing things, having people do that versus a computer, which is, really that's something that a computer is great at and people are not great at. So moving that work away from people to the system is a huge benefit in terms of cost reduction. It also reduces risk because having standard practice that's enforced by the system is going to ensure that you have the proper management of the data, processing of the data, as well as checks and balances that allow the office to make sure the right view of the world and the right maker-checker controls are being followed within the place. In addition, can totally change the whole expectations of the staff from moving from really a backward focus on, I've got to get all this data in and I got to figure out where we are, to here's where we are, let's figure out where we want to go and how we're going to get there. Also shifting a huge paradigm shift from really monthly or quarterly processing of data and delivery of data, typically probably several weeks after the end of the month or the quarter, shifting that paradigm to a daily delivery. So we're going to process all our transactions, process all our information on a daily basis, and then make that data available to the family on a T+1 basis. That's a huge transformation and benefit to the family of having more near real-time data. From a staffing and training point of view, moving the knowledge to the system and out of people's heads is obviously reducing key man risk and allowing you to delegate and transfer work to younger staff at an earlier point in their career while still maintaining the same level of quality service for the family. In addition, having this system, this operating model is going to allow for more consistency across the family. So if you have multiple branches of the family being served by multiple different people, having a consistent system operating model will allow you to ensure that all the family members are being served in a consistent, high value way. We've talked about seamlessness, entering the data in one place and having that data automatically migrate to the other parts of the system is a huge benefit, and something where currently we see a huge amount of wasted effort in the family office world. If I can generate all these benefits above, then there's going to be a natural flow through to cost, reducing my IT costs, my staffing costs, et cetera. And the other kind of fallout benefit of this is managing the risk by having enforced processes that are utilizing best practices that have been tested across the family office industry. Thank you very much for your time today, and we would love to chat with you more about these exciting topics.